It is time to start. Mr. Kumagaya, please. Yes. Dear shareholders, thank you very much for joining at 2023 December General Shareholders Meeting for our company. I am CEO of GMO Internet Group. My name is
Masatoshi Kumagai.
I'd like to start off by sharing our condolences to victims of Noto Peninsula earthquakes and their families. While we'd like to also say our heart is with you and we would wish as quick recovery as possible from the earthquake. With that, I'd like to kick off and start GMO Internet Group's 2023 December General Shareholders Meeting. Based on articles of incorporation, I would be taking a chairmanship for this meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance. I'd like to also tell you that we have met required quorum for this meeting. I am here physically at the streaming venue, which is the top floor of GMO Internet Tower. We are streaming here from GMO Global Studio. Today's General Shareholders Meeting is also being made available on YouTube. You can find the details about streamings on our website. Other directors are either here in the physical venue or attending remotely. Before we start, I'd like to remind you that today's shareholders meeting is hosted only on internet, which does not make any constraint on physical location. This is so-called virtual-only style shareholders meeting. As we run shareholders meeting only on internet, we paid careful preparations to it. But in an event of technical problems, such as surprising network issues, and should it hinder our proceedings for this meeting, I would want to make a call to stop, postpone, or continue with the rest of the proceeding. But please give me that privilege with your permission to make that call. You can go to the top of the screen and find Voting Execution tab and give me that privilege with your approval if you agree to it. I'd like to start the voting process. I'd like to give 2 minutes starting from now. Now, I'd like to close off with the voting window.
それはインターネットの可能性を信じ、多くの人に笑顔と感動を届け続ける私たちの決意の言葉だ。90年代に起業してから私たちはずっとより早く、より便利に、より安心にインターネットを加速させてきた。ドメインで、クラウドで、ネット広告で、ネット決済で、ネット証券で、ネット銀行で世の中の暮らしを加速させてきた。インターネットの可能性は無限だと私たちは信じる。新しいテクノロジーで、新しいサービスで、新しい感動を すべての人にインターネット GMO インターネットグループ。
プログラマー歴12年の成瀬くん、今元気よく入場しました。
焦っちゃダメなんですよ。こういう時こそプログラミング。見えた。
成瀬くん、大きく出遅れています。
やはりこういうところでもプログラミングを使えばより効率的に勝利を勝ち取ることができる。
今1着でゴール。 GMO トクトク BB 光は1トク、
安定して高速、
2トク、
シンプルに基本料金が安い、
3トク、
乗り換えなら電話1本簡単手続き、トクトク BB 光。
乗り換えトクトク。
GMO パルワールドマルチプレイするならコノハ。みんなで遊べてサーバーも簡単設定、誰でもお得に使えます。コノハで遊ぼう。
ではただいまをもちまして投票を締め切らさせていただきます。
Thank you very much for your vote.
ありがとうございました。
We have counted the vote for this particular question, and more than majority of you have given me the privilege. Therefore, should there be any technical or network problem
議長である
that hinders the proceeding of this meeting, I, as a chairman, would call for postponement or continuation of the rest of the proceeding. Now, I'd like to ask Secretariat to explain about today's agenda.
命させていただきます。
I'd like to first tell you agenda for today and how you could participate in the voting process, followed by, as we mentioned in the convocation notice, we had a list of approval items, which I would like to talk about to you later, followed by Q&A with shareholders, and finally, but not least, with execution of voting rights. Convocation notice details can be found at the top right corner of the screen by clicking Convocation tab. Should it be any network problem and hinders the proceeding, we will immediately notify you about the fact of technical problem on this website that you are watching and our website on shareholders section. And if we decided to postpone the meeting based on technical problem, we will postpone it until 10 o'clock, March 22nd, on Friday, which is tomorrow, as we notified you on convocation notice. We may not have any notifications, but you may be experiencing network problem. That might be the problem of your network. In that case, our recommendation is to refresh the page. Should you want to submit us with a question, please click the tab at the top of the screen by clicking Question tab and send us your text message. We have already started to take in a question. We will limit one question per person up to 250 letters. Some shareholders have given us questions ahead of time. Once we finish answering those questions ahead of time, we will close off Question tab. So please ask any question quickly if you have any question. If you send questions that are not relevant to this shareholders meeting, we may not be able to answer that question. If we have received similar questions, we may combine multiple questions. Thank you for your understanding. For submission of motion, you can find Motion tab at the top right side of the screen. If you send us question or submit motion, your name may be discussed together with your question or motion. In that case, your name may be discussed on the streaming real time. During the voting process, out of the top tabs, there's going to be a new tab appears. It will say execution of voting tab. And you will then get to vote. We will explain about this detail from Chairman right before the voting starts. With that, thank you very much. Next, I'd like to remind you objectives for this meeting has not changed since we have sent you a convocation notice. Next, I'd like to explain to you about audit report. Our audit methodologies and results are being made available on internet. Please find convocation notice and go to page 111 to 117 where you can find details about the auditing details. No issue has been raised by auditor or auditing committees. Next, we'd like to get into business overviews and also explanation about today's voting process. This will be narrated by AI. Please take a look at the screen. Internet for everyone. GMO Internet Group has been providing infrastructure for Internet and its services since its foundation. We've been pushing this with 106 affiliates and 10 publicly listed subsidiaries as a unified group. GMO Internet Group delivered 15th consecutive revenue growth at 258.6 billion yen, driven by stock business revenue, which consists with our essential foundation businesses. Operating profit, on the other hand, was 42.4 billion yen and did not increase from the last period. This is revenue by segment. Crypto business declined its revenue due to market slowdown, but internet infrastructure and internet finance grew their customer base and their revenue grew by 5.3%. This is operating profit by segment. Consolidated profit was down by 2.9%, mainly due to huge exit deal in incubation business same time last year. But core businesses such as internet infrastructure and finance both broke a record. If you exclude one-time losses, profit demonstrated strong growth and improved by 26.6%. The bottom line, as you can see, improved by 7.4%. Shareholder return is managed with 50% total return policy. 50% is consistent with dividend payout at 33% or higher and share buyback and amortization at 17%. This basic policy gives dividend at 44.1 yen per share. We will continue to pay dividends and conduct a share buyback under 50% total return target policy. Last section is about sustainable business management. GMO Internet Group has been providing essential and indispensable services on Internet under our corporate philosophy, Internet for Everyone, since its foundation. We have taken this opportunity to list critical challenges from the perspective of shareholders and our businesses. We have then identified 6 materialities based on GMOism, which is our credo at GMO Internet Group. This is how the list looks like. First, under business-led solution to social challenges, we have called for challenge, obsessed to be number 1 in services. Safety, committed to bring smile to our customers. Environment, solve social challenges with business activities. Under enhancement of business enablers, we have talents, a group of people who try to new things and grow together. Trust, maximizing smile for stakeholders. Governance, business group which run continuously for hundreds of years. These are critical areas in which we commit ourselves to make positive contribution to sustainable social development and continuous value creation of our businesses. We at GMO Internet Group will accelerate group business management, deliver essential services to Internet, and aim to sustain group business for hundreds of years to come. Internet for everyone. Next, I'd like to explain to you about resolutions for today's meeting. Resolution number 1, the appointment of 5 members of the Board of Directors. This resolution is required because at the end of shareholders meeting today, all directors except audit members are going to be coming to the end of their term. Therefore, we would like to renominate all of them. You can find the details about this resolution by going to page 11 to page 16 of appendix to the convocation notice. Resolution number 2. The appointment of 3 directors to be members of Audit and Supervisory Committee. We are now nominating new directors who will be responsible for auditing of our company. You can find the details about them from page 17 to page 20 of appendix to shareholders convocation notice. That is my explanation about resolutions. Now, I'd like to get into answering some questions that you have sent us ahead of time. Question about reporting item and resolution item before we go to voting process. For Q&A, we will first cover shareholders meetings that were submitted ahead of this meeting, followed by new question from shareholders joining remotely. When we finish answering all the questions that are submitted ahead of time, at that point in time, we'll close the question window for new question. Let's then try to find out questions submitted ahead of time with the exclusive website. There were 3 questions. I'd like to read the first question. I was using smartphone, trying to execute my voting right ahead of time, but I was having hard time accessing the details of the resolution, particularly finding who the nominees are. Please make it easier as a process to get the detailed information required for the voting right execution. Thank you very much for your question and feedback. I would like to take this question myself. We are consistently trying and improve to make it easier on our website. We'd like to take your feedback as a big important challenge for next year. And thank you very much for your valuable feedback. Thank you very much. That is my answer. Next, I'd like to read the second question. I was thinking about the administration cost, particularly for dividend payout every quarter. Why not reduce it down to twice a year? What do you think? Could you also tell us how much cost reduction you can expect by cutting down to dividend payout twice a year? High-level answer is fine. Thank you very much for this question. Now, I would like to take this question. It'd be great that some shareholders are holding on to our share for the long term, but at the same time, we believe it's important to get back to shareholders as quickly as possible in a form of dividend payout as soon as we deliver business result. And that's why we are paying every quarter. Administration cost for dividend payout one time is about 4.4 million yen. That means if we cut down to 2 dividend payouts a year, we could expect to reduce about 8.8 million Japanese yen for administration cost. But we believe what's more important for us is to quick returning of the value to shareholders as quickly as possible, much more important than cost reduction. Thank you. That's my answer. Next, I'd like to read third question from shareholder. I think you should think about selling publicly listed company who cannot aim for becoming number one in the sector so that you can have more money for share buyback. What do you think? Thank you very much for that question. And for this question again, I'd like to take it and answer. At our group, we are focusing on the business segment we have chance to win so that we can prioritize strong business resources to that business so that we can become number one. That is the basic stance of strategy and marketing approach. Today, there are some companies who are not being number one in services, but we could maximize the synergy across the group so that we can aim to become number one, and we will commit to that. So please be patient a little more time so that we have more time to explore becoming number one. And that is my answer. And that concludes all the questions shareholders have submitted ahead of time. That means we are now closing off with new questions. We will be checking the new questions from now on. Please give us a moment, please.
Welcome back and thank you for your patience. Since this is an annual general meeting, normally we would only respond to questions directly related to today's resolutions. But there have also been some questions related to our sales activities and some comments related to our services, including people expressing certain improvements they'd wish to see or criticism regarding our services. Therefore, we've chosen 4 representatives' questions among these to answer during this meeting. And since I think some of you, of the many shareholders remotely attending today's AGM, must have grown tired of listening to this very formal style of meeting, I'd like to continue in a more casual tone from now on. There was one question asking whether it would be okay to record this very broadcast of the AGM in some shape or form to save it for the future in order to be able to share facts about it or use it as evidence in the rare event of a legal dispute. Of course, we are making a recording of this ourselves, and you are also free to record the AGM on your side. We also provide an archive of the AGMs of the past years, and we've never altered or deleted these recordings in any way. The next question. I've submitted an application to have reverse IP lookup enabled for my GMO Tokutoku BB static IP subscription, but even though 2 weeks have passed, the setting hasn't taken effect. As I haven't heard back from the provider, I don't know whether I did the setting wrong or whether GMO just hasn't done the work. Is this kind of thing happening because you're cutting costs too aggressively? This is a complaint about our services, and I'd like to apologize sincerely to the person this happened to. I will get in touch with the board member responsible for this and make sure this issue is dealt with. Thank you very much for you pointing this out. The third question was about the current state of our crypto asset business and the future strategy and outlook for this business. Regarding our crypto asset business, the fact that the value of Bitcoin exceeded 10 billion yen for the first time has been a major news recently. Trade in cryptocurrency has also been booming. We launched our crypto asset business about 6 or 7 years ago. I think it was around the year 2018. At the time, I myself and the vice president went to Taiwan with our team to visit the TSMC foundry. And back then, the 12 nanometer technology was the industry standard for chip manufacturing. But after a meeting with their CEO, Dr. C.C. Wei, and TSMC Japan CEO Makoto Onodera, we were able to reserve capacity on their brand new 7 nanometer production line and produce semiconductors for our mining business. With these chips, we built mining operations in Iceland and later in North America. This was the beginning of our mining business. At the same time, we launched GMO Coin and started our cryptocurrency exchange business. Later, we obtained a license in New York to launch the G-Yen, our stablecoin. I'd say the crypto asset or cryptocurrency business, or this whole business, can roughly be divided into these 3 pillars that I've mentioned. To be honest, when we first started the mining business, the exchange business, and the stablecoin, the one thing we were most concerned about is whether cryptocurrency or crypto assets as such might eventually disappear in the future. Because in that case, all the time and money that we had invested would have been wasted. However, just a few days ago, we received some very good news, which was that a cryptocurrency ETF had been listed for the first time on the US stock market. I feel that this is equivalent to the US saying, we are going to keep cryptocurrency around. Therefore, I believe that cryptocurrency is going to remain highly appreciated by people all over the world as the gold of the IT age. And I feel that it was the right decision for us to become involved in the crypto asset business and to carry on with this business. Due to time constraints, I won't be able to elaborate on the details of our future strategy for each business today, but I can say that we are going to continue strengthening our crypto asset business in the future with a focus on our cryptocurrency exchange, GMO Coin. The last question we received was about energy saving in our data centers. The shareholder would like to know how we intend to make our data centers use less energy in the future. First of all, we are using 2 types of data centers, the conventional type and the modern type. And last year, we increased the percentage of modern data centers from 7.6% to 18% of our total data center usage. This year, we are planning to expand this percentage to 25% or 1/4 of all our data centers. Obviously, modern data centers use new generation servers, storage devices, and power supply equipment with a much greater power efficiency than conventional ones. On top of that, in order to help prevent global warming, we started using clean energy for our power supply in 2021. We are currently operating a number of data centers in Japan, and among these, 2 run on clean energy, which is also part of our business continuity planning strategy. We are committed to increasing energy efficiency and further expanding our use of clean and renewable energy going forward, and run our business in a way that's consistent with protecting our planet. So, although I've answered some questions that weren't directly related to today's resolutions, I consider these resolutions to have been discussed to a sufficient extent, and therefore I'd like to close the discussion on these resolutions. Thank you to all those who have submitted questions and advice. Of course, management has also taken note of the questions that couldn't be answered during today's AGM. We will now proceed to vote on all of today's resolutions. Resolution number 1. The appointment of 5 members of the Board of Directors. Resolution number 2. The appointment of 3 directors to be members of the Audit and Supervisory Committee. Shareholders in attendance at this meeting may vote on each resolution by clicking on the Vote tab on the top of their screens and then selecting Yes or No for each resolution. Please select the relevant buttons. We will now start the voting process. The time for voting is exactly 2 minutes from now.
すべての人にインターネット、それはインターネットの可能性を信じ、多くの人に笑顔と感動を届け続ける私たちの決意の言葉だ。90年代に起業してから私たちはずっとより早く、より便利に、より安心にインターネットを加速させてきた。ドメインで、クラウドで、ネット広告で、ネット決済で、ネット証券で、ネット銀行で世の中の暮らしを加速させてきた。インターネットの可能性は無限だと私たちは信じる。新しいテクノロジーで、新しいサービスで、新しい感動を、すべての人にインターネット、 GMO インターネットグループ。
プログラマー歴12年の成瀬くん、今元気よく入場しました。
焦っちゃダメなんですよ。こういう時こそプログラミング。見えた。
成瀬くん、大きく出遅れています。
やはりこういうところでもプログラミングを使えばより効率的に勝利を勝ち取ることができる。
今1着でゴール。
トクトク BB 光は1トク、
安定して高速、
2トク、
シンプルに基本料金が安い。
3トク、
乗り換えなら電話1本簡単手続き。トクトク BB 光。
乗り換えトクトク。パルワールドマルチプレイするならこの葉。みんなで遊べてサーバーも簡単設定。誰でもお得に使えます。この葉で遊ぼう。
では、ただいまをもちまして投票。
I hereby close the vote. Thank you very much for participating in the voting process. As a result of the vote, resolutions number 1 and number 2 were approved by a majority of the votes cast, including those cast in advance via the voting rights exercise form and via online declaration of intent, and all the resolutions were approved and passed as proposed. Thank you very much. Lastly, we would like to take this opportunity to have all the newly appointed members of the Board of Directors say a few words to our shareholders.
安田取締役です。
Mr. Masashi Yasuda.
取締役にご選任いただきましてありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for appointing me to the board of directors. My name is Masashi Yasuda. I am the group CFO, the head of the group management division, and the deputy to the group CEO.
私ども今後の約30年間
When we talk about the next 30 years or so, we call it the second half of the internet
イ
revolution.
ンターネット革命後半戦において
In this second half of the internet revolution, we aim to be a number one company that shapes the future using AI, and this means becoming a better version of myself and making the company even better than it is today to stay on the path of growth. I appreciate your continuing support.
西山取締役です。
Mr. Hiroyuki Nishiyama. Hello, my name is Hiroyuki Nishiyama. Thank you so much for appointing me. I am the group's Chief Operating Officer, Deputy to the group's CEO, and in charge of Human Resources Development. In this financial year, I'd like to put a special focus on turning the cybersecurity business, which we've launched 2 years ago, into a rock-solid recurring business, the kind of business that has always been our strength at GMO. In terms of human resource development, my priority will be on developing and discovering highly skilled talent that fits the needs of the rapidly growing AI universe. In doing so, I'd like to contribute to the continuation of our growth trajectory this year.
相野浦取締役です。
Mr. Issei Ainoura. Thank you very much for appointing me. My name is Issei Ainoura, and I'm the head of the Payment Processing Division. In the upcoming year, I will do my best to make sure the Payments Division is a driving force for growth within the company. I'm very happy to continue to serve our shareholders.
取締役です。
Mr. Tadashi Ito. Thank you very much for electing me. I'm Tadashi Ito, in charge of the Group Infrastructure Division and the HQ business. As of this financial year, I will also be a deputy to the CEO. My intention is to contribute to the group's growth mainly from a business perspective, and I'm very appreciative of your support. Thank you.
小倉取締役監査党委員です。
Mr. Keigo Ogura.
監査党委員の小倉と申します。この度は
My name is Keigo Ogura, member of the Audit and Supervisory Committee. Thank you for appointing me to this position, and thank you for your encouragement and support.
取締役監査党委員です。
Mr. Takashi Gunjigake.
監査党委員の軍事分けでございます。
My name is Takashi Gunjigake, member of the Audit and Supervisory Committee. Thank you for appointing me. I will leverage my experience as a tax accountant to carry out my duties as a member of the Audit and Supervisory Committee with a particular focus on compliance.
増田取締役監査党委員です。
Mr. Kaname Masuda.
監査党委員に選任いただきました増田です。ありがとうございます。
My name is Kaname Masuda, and I was appointed to the Audit and Supervisory Committee. Thank you very much for that. As a lawyer, I will do my best to provide advice to the company, not only from a legal perspective, but also on a wide range of other aspects, while also striving for personal growth. I'm looking forward to continuing this important work.
最後に改めてご選任いただきました。
Lastly, thank you also for reappointing myself, Masatoshi Kumagai.
産業革命は平均して
It is said that industrial revolutions last for 55 years on average.
Windows 95すなわち
By this standard, if we assume that the internet revolution has started with the advent of Windows 95 in 1995, it has been at its halfway point of 27.5 years when OpenAI's ChatGPT was announced in autumn of 2022.
半分経過をいたしました。先ほど副社長の安田がお話し
As Mr. Yasuda, our Vice President, mentioned just now,
今このインター
the
ネット
industrial revolution of the internet
時点で
is about to enter its second half.
皆様 AI が学
The data that AI is trained on is essentially websites that form part of the World Wide Web. The AI engines crawl the web to gather information that they can learn from. GMO Internet Group has started its business in the year 1995 and is now in its 29th year of existence. If I were to summarize the essence of our business in a single phrase, it would be the company that has played the biggest role in growing the number of websites in Japan by providing domains, servers, security, and payments. We have facilitated the expansion of information available on the internet and helped make the internet more convenient and more useful for its users. What AI does is precisely to collect and consolidate information that's available on websites and to make the internet of the future even more useful. This realization makes me even more excited now than I was 29 years ago in the year 1995 when I founded this very business. In the next 27.5 years of the Internet revolution, the second half of this incredible journey, AI will take the center stage. I am truly grateful to have been born into this very special era. This excitement will serve as a source of power for us to continue to be an indispensable company group during the second half of the Internet era, while meeting the expectations of our shareholders by achieving continuous growth. Let me take this opportunity to again express my sincere gratitude for your ongoing support. Thank you for being our shareholders. This concludes the agenda for today's annual general meeting. Thank you very much again for contributing to the smooth conduct of today's meeting. In order to meet your expectations, we will continue to do our utmost to further increase our company's enterprise value. I sincerely hope that I can count on your continued support. I hereby officially close today's annual general meeting. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend. This is the end of GMO Internet Group's annual general meeting for the financial year that ended in December 2023. We kindly ask you to participate in a survey about today's AGM. You will find the questionnaire under the survey tab on the top left corner of your screen. The survey will be accessible for 30 minutes on our dedicated website. We appreciate your participation as we will use the results to improve the way we run the AGM in the future. Thank you very much for your attendance.